This is part two. This is what they do to thought process.
What is into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains.
They're rewiring our brain and our thought process in degrading, disgusting ways. I'm going to show you the type of rewiring that's happening after this. But this is obviously a program that is utilizing human beings and utilizing this technology that can do all that to you. And see the different tactics of breaking the target individual down to push them to suicide.
Hearing voices which have no direct. And then, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but there's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people don't believe that.
So you understand, your brain is completely altered. Let me just explain to you the level of manipulation my brain is having. Yesterday, this video of this child came up. It was something that's supposed to be funny, but for me, when there's children, there's going to be some kind of degrading reaction. That's going to be pedophilia-centric. As they try to bring up. And so this child, which you see here, which I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to look away.
Let me see, Tyler. Ask him.
I just want to let you know that I will.
So mine was just. Let me see, Tyler. Asking myself, like, when the freak did I buy this girl a fitted dress? So let me see it again. I'm just asking myself that, right? What? Well, that ain't it. That ain't gonna be the one. You get it off you. This girl got on my baby sheet.
I just want to let.
You know how they make me look at this kid in this sexual way? The thought process became like, no, but, you know, like Billie Eilish, you saw the retardation of thought process to make me acceptive of the way they make me perceive these kids. It's so retarded. They're like, no, but you see, when you were, they had this, like, they reconstruct reality in these ways, right? And like, no, but remember when you saw Billie Eilish song and you say how maybe she had potential to this, it's the same, you saw the potential. And this grown-ass man, or somebody who's close to at least adulthood, say, this is personal. You understand the retardation? Because what's happening is my thought process of being rewired to think in this retarded way, as they make me experience this degrading reaction toward these babies. And try to have this back and forth. And you have this low-life, bottom feeders, contracted by these governmental entities. They're supposed to make me acceptive of how my brain is being changed. They have no shame. But I love to put that in their face. You're talking to somebody who has no problem putting that in your face. See, look how dumb you made yourself be. Look how low you've gone. If this is you living your best life, please continue to live life like this. Please, I don't care what kind of purpose I'll put that in their faces. It is my pleasure, my privilege to do that for you. To make sure that you see what you're part of, how stupid you have to stoop to, how bottom feeders you become, any participant. That when you come to me with this mistakeful voices like, nah, this is personal trash ass. Look at clown like you are. That's why you rely on this frontliners to dumb people down. the way they're able to manipulate the brain is simple. It's because this technology has been worked on for years by these governmental entities. They can capture your brain signals. And at that point, look, you're no longer you. For me, that happened on August 19, 2019, when I no longer was myself. A few months after this article, not even a few months, a month after this article, saying this. Bipartisan bill aims to stop child pornography trafficking on Defense Department network. This article was written July 2nd, 2019. August 19, 2019, that's when my brain started being rewired. And why do I bring up the Department of Defense? Because it's clear who's behind this. These are the entities with this issue with child porn, where bipartisan bill aimed to limit child porn from Department of Defense network. These are the entities been working on this technology.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human beings. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
This is the entities involved in the development of this technology, tied to the Department of Defense. And the Department of Defense is the entity where there was so much child porn being trafficked that a bill was prompt to limit the amount of child porn. When they rewire your brain, they utilize pedophilia type of tormenting tactics, forcing you to perceive babies in these ways, and then try to find ways to connect things that they themselves put together, and that's just disgustingness. And they use these frontliners who have nothing to lose, this is their moment to shine, feeling special. They're gonna be winners. Trash us. And this is the technology.
Innocent citizens being controlled by government sanction.
Let me change the volume here.
Experiments. Is Cheryl Welch telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich. I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century are bombs and bullets and ordnance on electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder. Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction, the ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain. Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behavior of human beings, going back to the Korean War. In fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems, being able to not just debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain. But how? HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas. HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends. HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain, and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry per
So this is how they're able to change your brain. They lock you in to this device, which can capture your brain signal. Once you connect it to this device, whatever this device wants you to experience, to think, it can be manipulated into the device. Your brain is going to mimic that device, and what? That's it. Control. Thought process, reactions, stimulations, whatever way they want you to have. And the reason why they would do that is because at the end of the day, unfortunately right now this is done for negative purposes. It's a weaponized technology. Obviously in the future there's probably be more positive aspect of it, but right now it's a weapon system. And weapon system of that nature are going to create degrading reactions. They're not going to make you feel good. They're going to try to break you down using thought process, reactions, and the brain going to be altered in ways that's degrading. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about Department of Defense developing this technology. So it's going to be on the negative side. It's not going to be out here doing positive, at least not for now. Maybe one day when it becomes more mainstream, when it goes into the mainstream world, then things will turn into medicational positive. In the meantime, it's a weapon system, and we're just test subject to it.
There's 200 million times more RF rate contributed, and that's just in the RF, not to mention everything else that we've done. So the human body couples with external fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years. The first...
And that's what this is about. We're guinea pigs to this weapon system that can attack the body and the mind. When it comes to the mind, this is the way they break you down. And this is now unique to me, but this is what this man describes here, making you understand that why would they do this kind of thing? Why would they force people to have these manipulations? Why this nastiness?
I guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare, exactly, it's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds,
personalities.
And it's like Chinese torture. I mean, okay, so.
And unfortunately, that's the reality. We just are used as guinea pigs by these governmental entities that have been working on this technology for decades. And they create these psyops, try to make you, it's a lot of control environment that distort reality. They try to come up with nah, it's personal, it's trash ass. Yes, it's personal because you are compromised to that level. Trash ass. And they distort reality and create this fantasy and make you think that this is anything but this massive government that's been working on this technology for decades. And come up with ways to just counter the reality of what this is really about.
Like personality spies and information couriers, people that will carry the V2K. So They'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis, that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
And that's the things they do. Matter of fact, as they speak here, because it talks about how this initially started, right? This intelligence community wanted to create a spy back in the 50s or so that would be able to accomplish the task, do some kind of mission, do some kind of action, then forget about it. And so if he gets captured and they try to interrogate him or her, that person will have no recollection of it. That's how it all started. They would try to create like this kind of agent. That's the whole beginning. And so he talks about how they all started. And then he talks about, okay, today what's happening, right? Is that they create this like psyops and facade, try to make you believe that this is anything but this massive government doing that. And so they make you think it's some cult, satanic, some evil aliens. Some people try to make you think it's the next door 14-year-old kid. Anything but this massive government that have been working on this technology for years. And for me, it's been like, oh no, you pay. We're here to make you pay. We did this and that. We're mapping. We're researching. They're researching. They're right. The research is about developing a technology that breaks people down. So they're researching how to manipulate your brain to break you down, how to rewire your brain in certain ways to degrade you. It's a weapon system because it destroys the brain psychologically, cognitively, and obviously physiologically, and torture your body and torment your body and destroy your organs. And they have these clowns that they contract. It's so nasty. But I put that in their faces. This is what I'm here. And this trash now have to counter the reality that the entities that contract this low life, that come up with a fantasized reality of what this is about. But the reality of who they're working for, who's behind this, who's running this program, as they're mapping, they're pairing, they're researching. This is the reality of these entities when this bill was created in 2019, or prompt in 2019 because of these issues.
Lee has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material. Called Project Flicker, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security suites. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense.
You understand the reality? These people are here in your brain, altering your brain, manipulating your brain, saying, now we pair, we map. They're actually working for governmental entities that are using government devices, DoD devices, DoD network to download child porn. So much so that they ranked so high for trafficking accessing and trafficking some of the most child porn in the United States using DoD network while they in your brain, rewiring your brain in all different ways. Say, nah, we're studying, we trash you, studying. Because I ran by pedophiles. Humiliated by reality. Altering the brain in ways that they've been consistently doing to others. And I put that in their faces. As they want to create that fantasy. I'm refusing to let them live a fantasy of what this is about. They're going to enjoy what they do. But they're going to enjoy knowing reality. Living within reality. And then, for me, what they like to do is, because this manipulation, they try to, when they make me have this manipulation, they're like, no, what we did is we made you think the way you thought when you were a kid, and a kid at that age, or even younger, actually. It depends on how they want me to experience things. A kid, let me see. Funny, every time they want to put this, they want to make me nervous, and they keep telling me to kill myself. This is coming from the frontliners. When I mean frontliners, it's like life is really just. They say that they mapped my brain to when I was that age, 8th grade, even younger, depending. And they make me think that this is our experience, and we're mapping your brain to you as a kid. And that's because at that age, the reason why they try to use that is because when I was this kid's age, I did some damn thing to myself that I completely forgot, that they try to exaggerate. It's like, nah, this is personal, what you did as a kid. I'm really... One thing I love to put in their face. And by the way, they're like, it's abuse. This is like, no, this is a thing a child did that you're trying to exaggerate. And today, when they make me have this perception toward these babies, they try to, now we mapped it to you as a kid. This trash. One thing I love to put in their face, as they try to change subject, how they rape me, it's because they torture children. The test subjects are not only adults, but children. You think I'm not going to put this trash involved in this? Put that in their faces? No. I even sometimes put it out in slow motion so they can hear clearly the reality of what they're part of.
Master after master.
Nestor, I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects.
Let me put that in. You just heard it. My young child and I. Let me put that backward. This is what I love to put that in their face. This is what they're involved in.
Mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual.
My young child and I.
Test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here. It is very similar to Connie's testimony.
You understand what they're part of. When they say it's personal, you understand how things are put in my brain. Oh, it gave worse than that. Some of the description of the torture they applied to those children is so fucking nasty. Let me just start with the beginning, and then you start hearing what they do to these
I am
babies.
currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture.
I'm hearing this perp saying, oh, they hear you. It's trash ass. Because they make me have this thought process to try to make me accepting of this manipulation. As you hear what they do to these babies,
several months she would cry and scream horribly.
It's a 7-year-old with autism. Can you imagine trying to deflect from that? It's like, oh, they hear you. Listen to the things they do.
When I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated,
They're suffocating children. Using this technology, they can restrict your lungs. They can damage your lungs. Can you imagine being involved in that? And they're using, of course, the frontliners. It's like, no, they're gonna hear you. Because the way they just created thought process to block out and deflect from this.
I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat.
They like to talk about, remember, pay for what you did. Because they try to exaggerate what I did to myself when I was in middle school. You saw the age of that child. Matter of fact, when they make me have this reaction today, it's like, now we mapped it to that. He does abuse. Try to exaggerate what I did as a child. And then when I see black little girls, they're like, yeah, black girls, I see we mapped it to. It's trash. No only they work for governmental entities with this nastiness. And I didn't even go through like some of the most disgusting things they cut over there. But look at what they do to kids as young as even 4-year-old with.
Also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this.
Sexually torturing children using this 21st century weapon system, targeting the private part. They do that often, right? You will give some pain in the private growing area. 4-year-old with Down syndrome and a 5-year-old older sister.
These on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair.
3-year-old. And it goes on, 3-week-old babies, all kind of horrible stuff. This is happening today. I know I use the same testimonials, but you will find today entire family harmed by this technology, inclusive of the children. To add, it's talk about fate. Can you imagine trying to live this fantasy reality where in every way you've been destroyed? Thought process rewired. What they do to women and children is horrible. It's been validated. The entities running this program, oh gosh, talk about research. Jesus. What else can it? I mean, we can't even talk about mass shootings. So it is fate. This could have happened to me when I didn't have this kind of information to put in their face. But I'm so thankful that I got the opportunity to do that. And I'm so thankful that I didn't live life disorienting people, deflecting from what you just heard. Whatever thought process they try to make me accept it, it's just, this is the reality. Whatever is going to happen to me, because they talk about all the different theatrical torture, I'm going to go viral when I'm being tortured, like, all this this little distortion, these deflections that you're creating. It's just trying to block out what you're part of. And I'm thankful that I was able to put that in your face at one point. Even if it's how I'm going to lose my voice. Target Individuals, stay strong and see these bottom videos for a deal.